Hello? Hey, there we are. Welcome back, everyone, to the Last Epoch dev stream. I am your host, Mike. There I am. You can hear me. You can see me. Oh, that was tricky. I don't know what was going on there. But we're back. We're live. We're playing a druid. It's a bear. It's pretty cool. Rawr. Sorry. Am I a little loud? I should turn this down probably. What? Okay. Where am I? Where am I going? We're on our way to Eterra. Yeah. Yeah. Hey llama, how's it going? Alright. Feeling good today. Feeling very good today. I think get our wolf out though. Let's scare some people. Oh yeah, you're Birdman? I'm a bear man. Love it. Still say the build needs more bees. We can still get there. We can get some more bees. Welcome everyone from the Lone Star McFluffin stream. Thank you for joining us. Glad to have you with us, everybody. There's a question I right off the bat. So we've got a question here about snapshotting. Snapshotting, game mechanic, or cheating? It's a good question. It's a good topic. It's not cheating, first of all. It's at worst exploiting a game mechanic, I would say. And there's so many different like layers of gray when it comes to this sort of thing. But I wouldn't classify it as cheating personally, no. And the big reason for that is all you're doing is using the game mechanic exactly as how it's set up in the game. It's not set up very well, and could use some improvements, I would say. But that is how it is set up, and so it's not cheating, I wouldn't say. Do we like that it's there? No. Do we want it to just magically disappear? Yeah. Might it cause other problems? Maybe. It's a tough thing to just fix. There's not just a remove snapshotting tick box that we can just use and it magically goes away. But that would be sweet. I will say. Thank you very much, Heavy, for getting us started today. That is 10 gifted subs. Fantabulous. Always appreciate it, buddy. Glad to see you here as well. Alright, quiet for me. Hey, cutie. I'm here for a rare Bug Mike question stream. Oh my. We've got prepared questions? Sounds good. I'm ready. I may pull a trump card later though, we'll see. Depends on how hard they are. Alright. Hi, I asked this last week, but then I did something else and I didn't listen. But will you guys do a closed beta for multiplayer before releasing multiplayer? Yeah, so this is I did answer this question last week, you're right. We roll out a lot of things in various stages. So multiplayer is something that we have started. One of those stages. It's in a very early stage right now, and no one outside of EHG actually has access to it, but people inside EHG have access to it. And so yeah, like we'll continue that slow stage by stage rollout. I don't know exactly what those stages are, exactly how big those stages are, exactly when those stages will happen, anything like that. They're generally all dependent on the one before them. So like, if one of them goes really well, the next one will probably happen a little bit faster, maybe, you know. So a lot of it is dependent on what comes before. But yeah, we're working on multiplayer. It's coming bit by bit, you know. It won't just be a, oh, multiplayer's out for everyone, here you go. It'll be, we're expanding it to these people, we're expanding it a little bit more, you know, that sort of stuff. Here's a test weekend, stuff like that. Oh, what's on the Nerf radar? I don't have, no, there's nothing on my Nerf radar right now specifically. I haven't really been looking for anything to nerf. Personally, I've been really heavy into multiplayer development stuff the last couple weeks, and it's been fantastic. I just got my, I just got a little local server set up so I can test faster and easier. So I'm not sharing one of the remote boxes. Boo, sharing's bad. No, sharing's great. Sharing is good. You know, I'm just weird. I like things set up very specific ways, and having the server set up the same as my development build box is really nice. Yeah, I just pulled my like old gaming PC out of storage and made some changes to it. All right, you often explained. Oh wait, okay. There's another question here. Okay, cool. I will be a snapshot main then. Thanks for the clarification. I mean, it's I don't think it's very fun, and the game is designed to be played without it. But yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get in trouble for doing it. Alright. You often explain that you want shards and runes to feel like items and not like a resource. Ideally, yes. Why is that? What's the advantage for the players or developers? Sorry for bringing up the topic again, but thanks for sharing your thoughts. I added the emphasis on the again. Yeah, okay. That's a good question for sure. And I don't know the answer off the top of my head, to be honest. Maybe it's just the theming of the items. Maybe they are. I don't have a good answer. That's a really good question. I don't have a good answer for you. I would love to have a good answer for you about why it's really that necessary. And I have a lot of things in my head that I'm like, maybe I've just accepted it as necessary to be an item. Let me. Okay, as soon as I finish this fight, I'm going to. Come on, hop. I'm going to write that down, and I will get an answer for you next week. You got your name in there, so I'll say your name when I do it. If you're not here, you can hear in the recording. I may even just send this to someone right now and ask them. Ask for a little backup, you know. There we go. All right. Do you hope to fix it before 1.0? And I'm assuming that's referring to the snapshotting, because that's what we were talking about just a second ago. If it's not, let me know and I'll re-answer it with a different id. But with snapshotting, I mean, if I'm going to say, do I hope to fix it? Yeah, I hope to fix it right tomorrow, you know? And I don't want to put that emphasis on hoping to fix something of plan to fix or know when it will be fixed or anything like that, because I just don't know. there's a lot of different types of snapshotting, and some of them are a lot more performance, like less performant than others to look at fixing. So, for example, say you've got 40 minions. It's possible, and you unequip something that changes the stats that those minions should have. Going through all 40 of those minions and changing their stats every single time you equip or unequip something, there's a few most stats it's fine. Most stats, things like just damage, it's not really a big deal. There's a few other types of stats that can cause a lot of problems with that. And it's making those edge cases work that's the important part, because it has to be consistent. We can't say like I think that it would be worse to have it where like damage snapshots but health doesn't, or something like that, you know? It would actually be the other way around. But anyways, having like some stats snapshot and others not snapshot would be so confusing that it's generally better just to have everything snapshot if we can't have nothing snapshot, if that makes any sense. And then so we have to weigh the like what do we gain out of preventing snapshotting compared to, I don't know, doing more work on making combat smoother and things like that. So we have to weigh, like, maybe the time it would take someone to fix the snapshotting problem is the same time it would take that person to make 4 new skills. I don't have an exact number on any of these things to quantify the thing, but we have to prioritize what's most important, and it doesn't always come out as the most important thing. So would I like to have it fixed by 1.0? Yeah. Do I have any reason to believe it will or won't be fixed by 1.0? No, because I just don't know. So I don't want to make it seem like we're going to, or it's a priority, or it's not a priority, or anything like that. Okay. It like the whole snapshotting thing is a fairly large question, and there's the thing that sort of underpins the whole thing is that you can gain more strength out of your items and your build by snapshotting your gear. And does having this, in my opinion, unfun way to play of like, let me summon everything, okay, then let me switch out all my gear to my non-summoning gear, and so you've got like this huge chunk of your inventory that's taken up by your summoning gear and your not summoning gear that you're switching back and forth all the time, and that process to me is not a lot of fun. Like, it's cumbersome at best, and I like having this, I guess the term is burden of optimal play, where just because you can means you should, because it's the best way to get the most damage out. And then there's this like pressure for like top players to be doing this, to push higher and higher for like ladder experiences, and then it becomes a sort of like part of the game culture where oh, you're not snapshotting, you're doing something wrong. And then people that even aren't trying to push the top but are just trying to get more out of the gear that they have, it becomes like, oh, it's necessary to do to progress or whatever, and that's not what we want. So we're still looking at it. We figured especially because we're in early access still, the way that causes the least problems is to just let it snapshot, because for most people playing, it doesn't affect how they play at all. It doesn't change anything. It's only for more niche cases that actually has an effect, really. I like these. They remind me of probes. I don't know why. They just do. Yeah. crank up this berserk. I really have to get down the tree to the point where my maul is being affected by Fury Leap tree. Because I have Fury Leap spec'd and everything, but it's not actually doing anything for me right now. Okay, come on, party people, let's go. Yeah, I agree. Alright. Oh, does this... Yay! We did it! Okay, get that CDR going. Yeah. More of these bad boys.
Yes? Ah, I see you helped clear out the rabble down here. I think...
Alright. Next question here. Quiet for me. Will you guys map smaller maps, or at least make more option for pathing within a map? It's like, you know, buffalo. It's the proper sentence. Anyways, something wrong there. I don't know what it is. Alpine Halls is one of the worst maps you guys made in layout, with hallways full for 4 to 5 matrons in small corners. No real way to cut diagonally through the map. Because honestly, playing it as a player is really bad. I don't know what the question is. I'm sorry. Maybe. If you've got specific maps and suggestions for them, my advice is go to the forums. Leave it there. Those get passed on to the level design guys. The roll it for multiplayer, will it be CT than the rest of us, or is it just how you're going to roll it multiplayer? We don't have full details that we're ready to share on how it's going to roll out just yet. It'll be gradual, that's all I can tell you right now. Unless there's more info in the one of the multiplayer blogs that I've missed. Alright, a couple questions on some quality of life things. Can we get cursor colors, and can you make hitboxes of affix shards / loot a bit larger to make them easier to click? Like they can't, so and let's try and get something like go right on top of each other. Yeah, okay. So because they can butt right up against each other, the box can't be bigger than the box. Like the clickable area can't be bigger than the actual box itself. If that makes any sense. It has to be exact. Because otherwise, if one of these overlaps the other and overwrites the other, then you can be actually hovering over one, but end up clicking the other. So it has to be specific and exact. Or smaller, but no one wants that. As for cursor colors, I think that's probably something we can look at in the future, but we don't have a specific like task to do that right now. I can see that being something that happens, but I don't have any exact info on it yet, sorry. I know that is a question we get fairly frequently, and especially because a lot of people do use third-party tools like YOLO Mouse and things like that to really get the cursor to stick out a lot. And ideally, I think we'd have more high contrast options that were a little less jarring than that giant pink monstrosity. I know it's great if you're looking for pure mechanics, but personally, I'm not a fan of how it looks. And then there is an effect that it like. There's kind of a subtle effect that happens with people that are streaming the game and people that's their first exposure to a lot of games, and like YOLO Mouse is fairly recognizable, but a lot of people don't know about it, and it's just like, why does this game have this ridiculous mouse as the like first impressions of the cursor? And it's not ideal. But yeah. Oops. How are you? I'm doing great, thanks. I got a new carrying case for my cards. Super stoked about it. I can like perfect. That's how I'm doing. Building a new Ebon Death Dracolich deck. It's gonna be fun. Alright, next question. I know you are the UI guy. Well, I implement someone else's vision for the UI. I don't really, it's not me. So I got a UI complaint, I'm sorry. But can you not make the pop-up in the bottom right corner when your mouse hovers over a debuff bar, not show the description in the bottom right, or at least turn it off in options? Yeah, this is a debate we've had a few times internally, and it's definitely not over. Oh, I turned back. Yeah, having it show up there instead of on top. We're maybe. I'm with you on this one. I'm fully with you on this one. We'll see. Yeah, we talked about having like possibly I should do it when I've got something on screen here, but like possibly having a more minimal tooltip for things like that need to be non-intrusive. That's one of the big reasons that it is down there, is because like it's a pretty big box, but just the word bleed does not need to be in a box that big. So we'll see. Got a Viper tail. What will most likely be the first of 3 missing masteries making it into Last Epoch at some point? Doesn't have to be a definitive answer. I would say they are just as likely to show up in any order or any combination of simultaneous release. I have no idea how they could show up or what order. I'm sorry. Like, my answer is the subset of every combination of those 3 masteries and any release order that could exist. Which is like the worst answer possible. I'm sorry, it's just no info. How far up the list is the Shaman rework? It's more of a heap than a list. It's not an ordered list, you know. I know it would be really great to get some timelines on a lot of things here. It's really hard to give timelines on things that aren't like basically done already, just because sometimes things get delayed. So a really good example of this actually recently is the Druid rework, because like 3 patches ago, I think, I was like, Drew, degree, we're coming next patch, which it didn't. It came, the patch after me was even further ago. The point is, I said the wrong thing on when something was coming out because it wasn't done yet. We changed the order of things we were doing them, and it's tough because I'd really love to be able to tell you the order of things that we're planning on a lot of stuff, but it's I don't know. I feel like it's worse to be wrong than to not say, like, not give an answer, like an estimate that I can't be reasonably confident in. If that makes any sense. And there's a few things with Shaman that are really great, and a few things that, you know, just need some number changes, and a few things that really need some mechanical changes. But I will say that we did a ton of work on Primalist very recently, so yeah, we do like to spread things out a little bit, generally. Okay, I can tell you this, actually. I don't think that it's coming next patch. Can I stand in both these at the same time? Yeah. Really need to do a loot filter for this thing. I think there's like one thing on it. Okay, let's add a rule. Let's recolor this color. Anything that has affixes with class-specific affixes. Why don't I just search for this? Bear. Bear. Swipe. Warcry. Furty Leap. Okay. Did I just do the dumb thing here? I do that every time. Okay. What was it? Warcry, bear. Oh, fat fingering it all over the place here. Cool. Let's find things with those affixes on them. Just so they stick out a little bit more. My wolves are squishy. Yeah, keep that Berserk train going. The damage is so much higher when Berserk's rolling. Alright, when Devouring Orb gets tweak? Question mark. Autocasting still way too strong, and obvious choice berry zoom zoom flavor IMO. Yeah. Same answer about every other timeline question. When will the Reaper form overhaul, at least visual, will come? We got promised something transformation related for Acolyte back when Druid Transformation Overhaul was teasered. Yeah, I know we there was a couple teases of mention of things relating to it. I don't think the art's done on it yet. Hi Mike, leaks. Okay. Here is Nice little turnaround sheet.
You were told not to come here. It would be wise to leave immediately.
But I don't want to leave. Oh, so you're just gonna leave? Fine. See how it is. Don't worry, I've got other cool stuff too. I actually came prepared today, guys. It's rare, I know. Hasn't happened in a while. But I asked for some stuff, and I got some stuff. Will there be vacuum on shards like there is on gold? So what we call our like vacuum feature is that when one drops and you click on one, it gets all of them. So we call that our vacuum feature. As far as like full auto pickup, it's not something we're planning right now. This is the question that was asked earlier about how I always refer to shards and glyphs and crafting materials in general as are we wanting them to be like items, and having a good answer of why we want them to be like items really. And then I come back next week with an answer to that. Appreciate the honesty. Lighter part of snapshotting. Can we unlock the white bear fur and other stuff like that as a free customization, or will always be item related? I don't know. It's a good question. I would say I don't know. If I was gonna guess, like pretend I don't work here, it's just as a regular player, if I was gonna guess, I would say the like that specific one would probably always be linked to the item, just because it is a property of the item. But that's not to say that we, like, as you can see, there are specific spots in this plan for skill effects. Like that's the sort of stuff that this is there for. So something similar, maybe it's like a little bit different, or maybe it's just the same thing that's just always there. Maybe it's unlockable, maybe it's a pay for thing, I don't know. It has no functional purpose, really. It just looks cool. I do really like the way the white werebear turned out. The Kermode. Alright, Mike is far behind as usual. Yeah, I am. I'm sorry. I get talking. What can I say? I usually catch up though. What are some of the challenges when doing these large mastery overhauls in which you want to create good synergy between the different masteries, but the overhaul makes it temporarily better than the other mastery that is thematically more, or that it's thematically built around? For example, the druid overhaul and say shaman. Yeah, that's a good point for sure. And it's an unfortunate side effect for sure of having these. I just realized I'm like way off center, aren't I? A little better. It is a bit of an unfortunate side effect of doing these big overhauls in and focusing them on one specific mastery. The option is kind of do nothing and wait till you've got the whole thing done. So like we just didn't release Druid last patch and like dedicate this next one to Shaman and then did it all at once. It's like they're big enough chunks that they would take so much time that we can't break it up without having these big gaps, unfortunately. So that's one of the big challenges, really. And I think that sometimes we do leave things in. Okay, the biggest challenge, I think the biggest challenge is avoiding the scope creep of trying to do all of it. That's the hardest part of just like, because we know that it's there and we look at it and we see those same things for sure and we go, oh, okay, we could just start working on that and try and fit it in too. And if we did that, it would take away from the quality of all of it. So I think the hardest part is letting it get into a point where, yeah, Druid is more polished, more synergistic, more fun, in my opinion, than Shaman right now. And I think the reason why it's okay is because we're still in early access, and it doesn't need to be fully integrated for the whole thing. I think once we're released, if we were going to, hypothetically, we're releasing a new class, and we decide post-launch to do this, maybe we probably wouldn't be releasing a class with only one mastery, or a class with one really great mastery and two crappy masteries, or something like that. You know, so yeah, I think it's a little bit easier for us to do that now, and one of the biggest challenges is letting it sit like that in some cases. It's not ideal, and we don't want to. But getting the content we've made out to people as soon as possible, so we can get feedback on it, iterate on it, make it even better long term, I think is more important. Every once in a while, so because also we do have to keep in mind that, like, when we rework the Druid, ooh, I have skill points. I think we're just like, ooh, actually want to do some of these. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Because like these nodes here are all, like, if you look at Druid as a whole, Druid consists of these passives, these passives, these passives, and all of these passives. So we do kind of have to take these into account a little bit while it's happening, even if some of them might change down the road. Yeah. But like most things, the hardest part is just stopping ourselves from trying to take on too much. that's honestly, most of the time, that's the hardest part. Yeah, you know what? Let's just crank up some bleed chance here. Sorry, poorly worded. Will you make maps not, I'm gonna say, as giant and not as linear? Alpine Halls right now is super linear and forces you to take the longest path around the entire map. No player choice to cut through diagonally. You must take a full square. So I was asking if we trend, or will we see more pathing friendly map layouts? So I'm so far removed from the actual map level design layout system that I don't really have much insight about this that I can give you. But I do think that it's good, personally, I do think it's good to have variety in the map layouts. So yeah, having some that are like really specific and kind of weird like that, I think is good. Having it be the norm, I don't think would be great, and I don't think it's probably planned to be the norm. If you don't like it, which it sounds like you don't, the best way to make it not become the norm is to go to the forums and leave feedback there. Did I somehow get completely lost? I don't even know where I am. What am I doing? I have too many side quests. Like, I could have sworn it was down there, and then there was just no quest marker, so I'm like, did I go the wrong way somehow? You always point out the two tenets of boss design, that you can, one, hit it, and two, move. What's your baseline for movement? Is it plus X% speed? Do you have a dash? No, generally we kind of assume people have just at least regular movement. I know there's like the follow-up question here is, well, I was doing this boss fight and I couldn't get out of the I couldn't get out of the whatever in time because I couldn't move fast enough and or whatever. But I think that just comes down to if there is an ability that is really powerful, you need to find a way to defend against it on your character. And so that way to defend can be move really quick, or in some cases, get a lot of health. We're just gonna go up this way. Why not, right? Oh, I totally missed Tokum Sibong as resub for or has subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. Glad to have you with us. Hope you're having fun. I might die here. Nope. Berserk saves my life again. And also, Boardman has rated us with a party of 74 people. Glad to have you with us. Thank you very much. Welcome, welcome. And Dahariel has, wow. Okay, here we go. That's a lot. That's a lot. It looks like 15, 20. It went off my page. I don't know how many that is, but thank you very much. And if you got one of those, congrats. Does the collision hit from Rampage count as a Berserk hit stack? I don't know. Alright. Is there anything that you feel is limiting design space for items and skills currently? Oh yeah, lots of things. Anything offhand that you feel could possibly become a problem in the future as we get new things? Specific examples, tough. I mean, the autocast problem is sometimes a little limiting, but not really. It's not, I don't know, it's not terrible. And it's kind of limiting in a good way because it forces us to just make better designs rather than be actually like detrimental, I think. So that's limiting, but possibly even in a good way. Sometimes restrictions are good, limitations are actually helpful. That ringing is just going. I mute it for a minute. I'll turn it back on now. Some specific limitations off the top of my head is tough. I think okay. I mean, one of the big ones is just how much visual noise is this going to create. Like, there's like just limitations in that sense. Like, we can't have an ability that covers the entire screen in meteors for a minute and a half. You know. It's just too much. So that's probably the most frequent limitation we have. Just too much stuff where it becomes completely impossible to realize what's going on and like read and recognize anything. Love it when I manage to keep the Berserk stacks going. Oh no, my boys! My special boys! No, we lost one! Oh! Okay, we're good. Welcome back, new boys! Is one in Mouse? Oh, we got Mouse! I have a summon mouse. Oh, that's our 5th spec slot. Also, it finally unlocks at 50. So happy that we managed to do that. So happy. What are we gonna put there? I mean, Wolves is the only thing we're really using right now. We are using Maelstrom, actually. There's autocast on Maelstrom. Maybe we'll just stick that in there. Beef up the area a whole bunch. Yeah. Let's just go area and duration. Keep it basic for now. The wolves might be good too. Be cool if they could res each other. I think we toyed with that for a little bit, but then they were just OP. Missing eggs. Where are the eggs? Is Boardman21 your favorite LE streamer? I can't take favorites. No, you know what? I was gonna just be like completely narcissistic and say, no, it's me. I'm my favorite one. I don't know. I can't pick a favorite really. Sorry, guys. Anything you can share about what's coming next patch? I mean, I got some little teasers. Yeah, you want some teasers? Sure. 1 second. Pop up a little teaser here. Ooh. Ooh. Not as good as I'd like. Still good. Here's some cool art. Well, nice little render there. Oh. I'm gonna take a brief moment to do some crafting here while those are up. Oh, I picked up some boots, you guys. These are great boots. Yeah, can you see these boots, guys? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boots I found. Not bad. It's good base. It needs a lot of work. The tiers are a little low. I think we're just gonna go straight with speed 4, 0. Not bad, not bad. All the way to 5. Strength, and we're too high on the level now, right? We're leaving this one now, 51. I think those are a nice upgrade. Those are a nice upgrade. Yeah. That's working for me. What do we want to do here? I don't really care about mana efficiency. The haste is nice. Frenzy would be nice too, actually, because we can get up to that many stacks. So let's work our way around to Frenzy. What feature are you personally looking forward to the most? Ooh, good question. I mean, multiplayer is the easy answer for sure. Yeah, I'm like, that's just more multiplayer. Multiplayer. I think the missing classes. So I'm personally really excited for Falconer. I think that's the one I'm the most excited for myself. But yeah, the missing classes. Yeah. More dungeons too, actually. The next set of dungeons I think are gonna be really great. You know, we should go hand in a bunch of these quests, because, like... There's quite a few that are, clogging up the old... Ooh. That might be nice for crafting, too. Oh, I gotta switch back. I'm on the other side. There we go. Oops. Just went to human form for no reason. Okay. Next question. Will monoliths get the randomized map tech used in the dungeon someday? Maybe. I'd like to see that myself. Have you ever considered putting random maps in the campaign? If so, why or why not? We have definitely considered putting maps in the campaign. Or randomized maps in the campaign. There's a lot of really good and really not so great things that can happen with randomized maps in general. We kind of look at the campaign a little bit more as a... I'm realizing that there's contradictions to this as I say it, but a little bit more of a curated experience, I think, would be the term I'd use, where it's like things are built in specific ways. There's some really subtle level design things that happen in a lot of games that I think are really interesting and add a ton to the game. And you can't really do that with randomized maps. And I'm not saying that we can't use randomized maps anywhere, but I wouldn't personally be in favor of having randomized maps everywhere. I think it could be something we could see added eventually. I don't know when or if that'll happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got included at least partially. But so there's little subtle things like if anyone has played just Metroid, original Metroid, it came out a little bit after Mario, and there were quite a few games that were of that type of genre where you start, you move right, it's a platformer, you try and get from the left to right. That's how it works, right? When you start Metroid for the very first time, spoiler alert on a 30-year-old game here, almost everyone goes right. First thing everyone does, Metroid starts. Your character's like right there. There's a clear path to the right. You start going right. I guess for you guys, this is right. As soon as you like you're partway into this, you get going, and you have you get to a dead end. Sorry, and you're like, what do I do? So you start backtracking, and you get to the start, and then you realize that there's room to go left from the start. So you start going left from the start, and there's an item left from the start that helps you advance to the right. And it's this really subtle, really cool thing that happens right at the very start of that game that I've always loved. And you can't do that really with randomized maps. And you can put restrictions on it and things like that. And you have sections that are randomized and whatever. But I think there's really good reasons to have at least sections that are handcrafted. The big downside of that is the campaign's the same every single time, which is a big downside. And one of the ways we're trying to add variety to the campaign, not just with randomized maps, but with actually variable content that you play through in multiple paths, is adding these dungeons and having these various routes you can take through the campaign, skips effectively. So there's, say, I don't know, later on 10 skips or something. Please don't use that number as an exact number, it's a hypothetical number. But say there's 10 skips and you can only take 4 of them. Just random numbers here. And some characters are really good at certain things and some characters are really good at other things. You pick the skips you take depending on the character you're playing. And for an experienced player, I think that's really cool because you can optimize your route through the campaign, and it can be variable based on what character you're playing. So it's not the same route every time even, and the things that you're using for these skips do have randomized content in them, or procedurally generated content, so there is some randomization in there as well. So even if it doesn't come into the main part of the campaign, it is still part of the leveling campaign in a sense. But I can see it being added to the campaign too. It's just it's not something we have planned right now. But that doesn't mean it won't happen. Not a bad starting base. We're going this way. Alright. Fat fingering things is an underrelated epidemic of middle-aged men. Yeah, it is. I would love to see a full rework of Necro with more than just play minions, but maybe a transform for each minion, just an idea with high power but heavy punishment, like all Necro used forbidden magic. Yeah, cool. Can you guys pump the brakes on the patrolling mobs and monoliths? Some of them, especially matrons and elementals, move so fast they must be using performance-enhancing drugs. Maybe that's good feedback. Better on the forums. Huh, I wonder why that didn't trigger. Probably not 2 of the things I put in there. Do you guys have plans for more in-game content before 1.0, or is the main focus right now multiplayer prep and the setup required for it, aka performance, any pre-structure patches? Asking if next few patches might be toned back a bit in terms of content because of multiplayer focus. Yeah, so there's I don't want to speak to the first part of that really, of the like are we done with endgame content before 1.0? I don't know. Certainly not in the sense that like we do have more dungeons that we're planning, and that works into endgame content for sure. And there's other systems we have planned for various things too. Like this is, I wouldn't say it's done before 1.0. However, I do think that you are hitting on a good point, that we are working a lot more on multiplayer, just in general, and people that haven't worked a ton on multiplayer. Like up until now, I've done a little bit of stuff in multiplayer, but not much really. But my focus right now, personally, is multiplayer work for sure, and sometimes that includes skill bugs that are problems in both single player and multiplayer. So there is some overlap, and it's not like the work on multiplayer doesn't help single player as well, because it, like I say, the bugs overlap and everything. And like when we do something for like work on multiplayer, it happens on the regular, like it's not 2 clients, so they both get fixed, they both get updated simultaneously, just because it's one thing. But yeah, I think that next patch, it's hard to say because I don't know exactly what's going to be in it yet, but I feel personally like next patch will be smaller than the last one. We had a pretty big patch. We've had a lot of really big patches in a row. Can't be all Rise all the time. Leave that for Barney's mixtapes. Alright, any plans for sub-skills to be converted when the main skill is? Most of the time they are, I think. But not always, and it depends. If it's a skill that is so if it's a skill that's like like only part of that skill. If that makes any sense. I think it makes a lot more sense for the sub skill to be converted. But if it's a skill that is triggered by your by another skill, like, okay, what am I trying to say? Here's a good example. Warcry can make Maelstrom, right? And then, like, let's say Maelstrom was fire damage, and it's oh, Maelstrom tooltip doesn't show up there. Yeah, it should. So Maelstrom is cold damage by default, but let's say that Maelstrom was, or actually, I mean, there's kind of lightning stuff in here, but that's not a conversion. Let's say Maelstrom is fire damage, and you have Warcry and the cold conversion for Warcry. And the Maelstrom node in Warcry, because it's a proc sub skill, but it's not. It is a skill that you can use on its own. That skill's conversion should always take precedent. Like if you're spec'd into it, really it should. So it's tricky when there's some instances where it should and some instances where it shouldn't. It's hard to decide where that line's drawn sometimes. Right. I just forgot what we were doing. Oh my god. Come on. Is it really down here? Am I just a crazy person? I might be. Alright, hey, it took 46 minutes to refer to the forums today. Is that a running joke now? And I guess that means I'm like 20 minutes behind in chat. So the reason why I do that is I have a tough time remembering all the little things that were said in here. And if you actually want it to get looked at by more than just me, it's the place for it to go. Alright. Oh, yeah. There's that big one. How many people was it? Dario, 20? My goodness, thank you. My goodness me. Congrats to everyone that got one of those, too. That's where I am in this. Previous movement question, my follow-up was actually about roots of Mithril, as it's an overall form lock rather than something that would only roots related to Spirit Thorns. Yeah. When it's... Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. I think that's a little bit of an edge case because it is something you've opted into to remove. But yeah, that is a really good point. Weapon swap when? Don't hold your breath. We talked about it for a long time. There was many debates had about it. It's not planned. I have a question about LP items. Why two items like Eternal Eclipse and Baldur's Wrath have different drop rate and rarity, since both are niche and sword is so rare, or is too rare compared. something rare compared to the mace. The sword with LP is rare and weaker than the mace. Can you comment on this? I don't have exact answer for you. Let me just... Oh, I can't bring that up. Baldur's Wrath, I think, is a bit of a edge case in general. It's a very noisy item. Okay, so it is a very noisy item, and it it might get changed. It's already really popular. It's already really noisy. It is quite powerful, and it is the centerpiece of a lot of different builds already as well. I think we just felt that it was stronger, and maybe it's not. Alright, where are we here? Can we get an option to choose the boss quest in Monolith rather than having to go through the first two to get to it? Yeah, we actually had a... none of this is set in stone yet, but we did have a big conversation yesterday about a few things regarding Monolith and the flow of the Monolith, especially on follow-up characters and things like that. I can't give you any details on what we've got planned because none of it's been implemented or tested or any feedback given on any of it like that. So we're not 100% on what's going to happen yet, but we do have some, I would say some medium changes to how a few things like that behave. Yeah. That was a topic that was discussed. I don't know how to say this without being committing to something without giving anything away. But yeah, there's stuff in there that we're looking at. I think that the quests, the first two parts of the quest, are really important in the like especially for a new player experience, they're really important. So, because a lot of that is there's world building moments, and some of them need to be updated because they're not quite as modern and as polished as we'd like them to be. But there's a lot of world building moments that happen in those that we'd like people to experience at least once. So there's some options to be had for making them not mandatory in some situations that we're considering. All right. Mike secretly hacks in some boots while distracting the rest of us with art. Yeah, let me just beat this boss real quick. Here, look at this. It's pretty. Oh. Ah. Oh, hey guys, the boss is dead. How'd that happen? Okay, I'm gonna turn this off before. Yeah, this is just these the last one and this one are not 2D art. They are 3D renders. With poly counts consistent of being able to put into a game like this. I just realized I walked in with 4 rage. It's fine, we can just take a breather here. Brah. Bita banda solo. Alright, will uniques be the way to go to make Void more prominent in Last Epoch? I understand that not every master should get it. I like that Void damage is kind of a novelty, but I feel like we need more Void melee weapons. Yeah, I think there's... I think unique items will be a good way to do it for now. Ooh, subtle foreshadowing. My goodness. Might have been answered before, but why is there a button to transfer crafting materials instead of directly sending them to the forge and pick up? Yeah, so this is it's really interesting to see because there's a lot of you guys that have been here for quite a while and come to the streams very regularly, and like we had a question right at the start of the stream that was about, it was like expanding on the answer I'm about to give right now, and I didn't have a great answer to the explanation to that question. But it's basically that the goal is to have them feel more like items, and items go to your inventory. Items are things you can pick up, you can drop them, all these types of things. And as soon as they just get auto picked up and auto go to that, all they turn into is exactly the same thing gold is. It's just a resource. And and when they sit in this gigantic menu, which unfortunately feels like just a bunch of resources, once it's in here, we're trying to avoid that getting shoved too far down that path. And this is what happens when you use the same save data for testing as you do for playing. Alright, if you had to pick one ability or synergy that is currently undervalued by players and would like to see more, what would it be? Smelter's Wrath is not allowed. Like in its current state without us changing anything? That's tricky, because I mean, basically, no matter what I say, someone will be like, well, I play that. Ballista. I'm playing right now. I made Sivir. I'm playing in our multiplayer testing a Blade Dancer right now that's primarily using Chakram and basically any way that I can. Old Sivir. I don't know if they've changed it recently. It's been years since I played. But basically any way to give party members or anyone else haste, and like trying to basically recreate Sivir's ultimate through like random group buffs, and then use Chakram for damage for the most part. It's been a ton of fun. But yeah, using like Ballista and Decoy together with Chakram has been great. With multiplayer, what classes combos do you expect the most of? I expect to see a fair few like poison stacking combos. So like there'll be like a Serpent Strike Primalist with like a Scorpion, and then you'll see like a Necromancer with a ton of poison stacking on their minions, things like that. So like a lot of minions and a lot of poison stacking, and then like a Paladin to go with them. I mean, these are really obvious choices, right? But I expect to see a lot of that, at least initially. I think there'll be some like less obvious combinations, like a lightning shaman and a lightning spellblade. They work really well together as well. like my bear gloves. I love that I found 2 pieces of that set. I know it's not very good, but whatever, I enjoy it. It's just cool that I found it while playing a bear. Are all of the dungeons going to have some eternity cache at the end, or is each dungeon going to be something different? Like Temporal Sanctum will be forging legendaries while others be forging something different. There's the current plan right now is to have unique rewards for each dungeon. That's not to say 100% of them will be completely unique. At least the first few we plan to be. One of the key parts of the Eternity Cache in particular is that you need to have that temporal shift ability to use it. And you won't have that temporal shift in any of the other dungeons to start with. We have talked about having some dungeons where there's like a baby version of it and a big boy version of it. I use those with, you know, more of a like a toned down version and a more complex version, I guess is a better way of putting it. And they may have similar rewards. Alright. More questions! I can do it. While I smack someone in the face. Oh no! This is Mouse. Oh. It wasn't Mouse. Mouse is over here! No, you can't have him! Did Mouse die already? Oh, did Mouse die already? I'm like the worst. Come on, Mike. What are you even doing, eh? Alright. Oh yeah, and sorry, there's in that question. Will the others might be forging something different? I forging might be the wrong word for some of them. River, hey! I was just rewatching, Firefly, actually. River's the stowaway. Not really stowaway, but the one they're hiding. Have you thought about making monolith echo affixes be expanded upon? Because right now it feels real bad to go into monolith stack 4x% damage reduction on high health enemies or 125% armor shred. Doesn't feel like we can counter them thus making it so we have no choice in monolith sometimes. Because even a good gear character doesn't have enough to offset possibly see more gameplay like affixes. For example, chilled ground or extra projectiles instead of stat nerfs. Yeah, there's some of those ones that you've mentioned there are really good ideas, and making them work smoothly is a little trickier. But yeah, it's having more gameplay focused ones would be ideal. Ding! Ding, level's done. Ding, level's done. Alright. Can we have some insight onto who's gonna be the first Uber boss? I can't, I'm sorry. Are you reconsidering your stance on set items not being able to have legendary potential? No. I'll expand that a little bit more. The buffs to set items simply were not sufficient to keep them competitive. I agree with that. Do I have a good example? It's not really a good example. The tooltips on legendary items, in some select cases, are obscenely long. which is not good in general. A lot of set items would fall into that category really quickly. Especially with ones where there's like larger set bonuses, larger unique bonuses on the items, and the lore text and all these things. It's the sheer volume of stats and stat lines that start to appear on items that's one of the main things that holds them back from having legendary potential. That's one of the big things. Excuse me. And then it's also just having them be distinct as a different item type. There might need to be some other way to keep them more viable. They might just need to be stronger in general. I'm not sure what needs to happen to them yet. But currently the plan is not to give them legendary potential, and we're not currently reconsidering that. We do still read the feedback. Has not gone unnoticed. I know a lot of people are suggesting it should have it still. Oh, Dreamthorn, that's nice. I like me a Dreamthorn. But we're not currently looking at that. At the same time as well, we're not really looking at changing much for it at the moment. I don't think there's any humongous problems with it, and we really want to let the system settle a little bit more before we make any sweeping changes. Things like adding legendary potential to a set item is a pretty sweeping change. It's another one of those, and it's really unfortunate, but it's another one of those, like, it's really hard to take back type changes as well. So if we did it and it wasn't good, undoing it's real tough. But keeping them mechanically distinct from uniques as much as possible is ideal. This is a way that does that. I should have checked what these were. Nah, gimme that strength. I'm a bear, I'm strong. Okay, now I just gotta get more than 6 stacks of Maelstrom quickly. Doesn't happen very often, I know. Alright. You should apply for partnerships so people can get quality options, Mike. What? You should apply for partnership so people can get quality options. Sorry, I don't know what that means. I just noticed, how is the G935? Is that what it is? 935? 635? It's a 635, not a 935. It's doing great. I'm still having some problems. Like right at the start of the stream, if anyone that was here, I like started a minute late, and then the first thing I said was, "Is it working?" I don't know what's going on, but it's a software problem. It's completely a software problem. I don't know if it's like confused because it like thinks it's the old headset or something, but it like sometimes the microphone just like stops working completely. Usually all you have to do is just be like, no, use the default. This is the default, and it starts working again. And sometimes it's like, it stops working on the default and just go back to, no, use the headset specifically, and it starts working again. So it just needs to have a little kick in the butt every once in a while, unfortunately. Oh yeah, I got spot up there for this, don't I? How are my resistances doing? Cold's real good. It's those boots, isn't it? Did a bunch of cold on them. Yeah. Oh, can I craft those boots more? Put more armor on them. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, sorry, I didn't move the screen. I just got armor to go up one. Happy with it. It only used 1 fortune potential, I think, what it said. Maybe it was 2. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's. Why not, right? A little bit of void res. Still real bad. Ooh. Alright. Any particular reason for not putting companion skills on the skill bar change for druid transforms? They're already really synergistic. It's still up in the air. We might do it, we might not. I do understand where that question is coming from, because right now I would love to have my wolf on the bar where I can just, instead of having that W to transform back to human, which I never want to press in this build, is having that wolf howl there. Would be great, for sure. We'll see. Favorite part of making builds in Last Epoch, and I guess lesser extent designing skill trees. I mean, so I spend a lot more time designing skill trees than I do actually making builds. I think my favorite part about making builds, though, is, and I don't really do it so much on stream because I don't want to risk having it just whiff and do nothing, is trying to find, and sorry, another preface, it's also weird because quite often I'm the one that designed it, but usually what I'll try and do, and I do this in other games more so, is try and make something work that is not intended to work. So like, I mean, the classic example is like make a crossbow sork in Diablo 2. It shouldn't really work, and it doesn't really work, but like doing dumb stuff like that. I always like trying to make things work that shouldn't, and most of the time they only kinda work, but it's enough to have fun. So when I'm designing skill trees, sometimes I'll slip little things in to be like, see if you can make that work, guys, huh? Huh? Any plans on giving Spriggan Form a movement ability like all the other transforms have? It does have one. It is accessed through a unique item. Are you okay with people cheesing the monolith in order to do bosses with no modifiers at all? It's not ideal. It does reduce the other drops you get, so there is that. And I know it's specifically targeting going after like the guaranteed unique drops with legendary potential on them is the big reason for that. So I mean, there's a few different ways. I just love this room, how it does that. Big fan. With the monolith, I think it's a big problem when cheesing it like that becomes mandatory or necessary and there's no upside to not cheesing it. Where, like, other than it just doesn't take a bunch of busy work time. And right now, there is a bunch of that busy work time, and so it's not great. And would be nice if it wasn't done that way at all. Some of the changes we've got planned for the monolith overall might have a positive impact on that, and we'll probably look at how that is impacting it before we really try and tackle that as a big option. And the changes we have aren't huge, really. I don't want to... Yeah. I think they'll have significant impact on the feel, while actually being relatively minor changes. Yeah. I hope you someday plan on having perma level 20 skills after you leveled at 220. Would make it more fun to swap between builds. Very unlikely. Will address snapshotting issue, especially for minion builds in the near future. Possibly. Rewind the stream an hour and there's a half-hour talk that I ramble about it. Any love for set items and set bonuses coming soon? Legendaries really push them back into shadows. I feel like these questions were coming before I was talking, so I'm just going to skip that. After multiplayer drops, do you think you will change how self-found characters work so that all of the players' self-found characters can share a stash with each other, not trade with players, or do you plan to keep it character found as it is now? This was another big topic we were talking about yesterday. Not set in stone yet, but that is definitely something we're discussing. Shrines of Legends are rare. In hundreds of monoliths I've done since the last patch, I found only 2, neither of which had any legendary potential on the unique. Is it by design that the shrine drops can have no LP? I don't think so. Kind of second guessing it, maybe? I think big tooltips is very easy to sell for legendary set items. Just make set bonuses only show certain hotkey like controller alt. Those hotkeys could also hide flavor text. Yeah. It's not exclusively just the physical size, but also just the number of things that are on it. At some point becomes completely unwieldy. Like, there's you start to get good at reading it in some cases. Like you can start to get good at parsing it quickly if you're really familiar with it. Like I can look at item in Diablo 2 that has 30 mods on it or whatever. You know, like there's ridiculous ones that would show up from like the single player bugged items from forever ago that had like there was items with ridiculous mods on them, just insane number. And you get good at reading it eventually, and yeah, that's fine. It's really not good for like an early play experience. I know this is sort of a late game item and everything. There's a lot that goes into that, and we're trying to make set items viable, fun, and unique in their own right, instead of just having them be a variant of a unique. But who knows what'll happen. Try Doom Sword, very fun. Yeah, there you go. Weird build that shouldn't work. I assume that's what that was response to. If you had to pick, what would be easier, 4th Mastery or 6th Class? 4th Mastery is by the time we're launched and post-launch, we might not have like we don't know what we're gonna do yet exactly, but I think that it could be possible to apply 4th Mastery to some and not others, and we'd be totally fine. 4th Mastery is way easier in general because it there's no animations that go with it. Oh, what am I doing here? Yeah, there's no modeling, there's no animations, there's yeah.
Lost? These walls will be your doom.
Where are you over here?
I am losing my patience.
Yeah, well, try and find it if you can, because I'm killing you as fast as I can.
You are a fool.
Maybe. Ooh.
Don't you see the harm you are doing?
You mean the harm to your health bar? It was a little delayed. Counting it though. Oh! My special boys!
Lost? These walls will be your doom.
Oh!
I am losing my patience.
Nobody hurts my special boys!
Don't you see the harm you are doing?
Yes, you're almost dead.
You fool. Lagon is unpredictable. I was trying to protect everyone.
Well, you failed. My turn. Sorry, I don't know if I actually answered it, but if you had to pick what would be easier, 4th Mastery, 6th Class, 4th Mastery. Definitely. That doesn't pause. I think the fight actually starts if I don't move. Is losing your stash when transferring a solo character a technical limitation or an internal design choice? What's the plan for how stash merging is going to work when seasons are implemented? We don't have exact information on this. I think there's some really good examples we can look to in other games for things like this. Right now, the transfer thing not merging is just we didn't account for it properly and it never got implemented. So sorry, that was a mistake we made. I think the most likely solution, and I want to phrase it like that because it is not decided yet, is to have remove only tabs that show up with the stuff that was there. Yeah, we do have the tech for that to potentially work. We don't have any set up yet, but we can make it so that it's remove only. That is possible. I'm just gonna answer a couple questions here. Rapid fire a few of them off. Because we're near the end. I'd love to have some visual distinction on legendary items like a light glow or some other kind of effect. Yeah. Me too. Thanks a lot for all your great answers, doing all these streams. You're doing an awesome job. Great job in the game. Thank you very much. Glad to hear it. Will Werebear's steering make it the next patch? That is missing for me to make it enjoyable. It's possible. There's some problems. There's a big reason why it didn't show up. Oh, I caught up! Look at that. Let's go kill Lagan. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Oh! Okay, I do have to walk out of that. Does that reach? Yeah, it's okay there. Okay, I think it's just those two that I really gotta look out for. Come back, Wolfie boys. Get that berserk going. Oh no! Oh, spicy. Oh yeah, there you go. Forgot about those sound effects. I'm like, who said that? Come on, boys, get up! Why? Because I'm kicking your butt? I like trash talking the bosses, if you guys hadn't noticed. I'm not very good at it, but, you know, it's the little things. Thank you, someone! I just saw a big stream go up. Bunch of them. Arrow word! Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Congrats to everyone who got one of those. That was intentional, wasn't it? It's a dirty trick. Thank you very much. Glad to have you with us. Oh, just stay down there. I do kind of need to either get rid of this Maelstrom stuff or have a way to autocast it better so that I'm actually getting the buffs from it that I spec'd into. I do have Swarmblade for him, so I could Oh goodness. Oh, did my Wolfie boys die down there? No! Let's call it calculated. It was lucky. It was very lucky. Oh, okay. Apparently I have a decent sense on where that goes from and to. It stuns, it kind of wrecks it. Nice. It's always great if you can see that starting, getting to the other side of him, so it just like goes away from you. It's really nice. It's like one small preemptive move can save you a larger move later. Didn't quite work there. There we go, kept that going. Oh, these guys came up, that's funny. There's a bug. I'm ready. Woo!
Now that we are finished, before you bore me further.
Nice, nice, quite. Yes. Alright, any progress on visual golem upgrade? I don't have anything to show you on it. It's the little things like your damage numbers. Yeah. Thanks. It's totally fine. You know, it's fine. Doesn't hurt. Yeah, okay, I get it. Damage is a little weak on this guy right now. Pick it up. The fight though. One shot. What's the coolest build you've seen community come up with, and was it one that you already knew existed? I mean, I brought it up last week, but it's still the person that's attempting to build teleport as their primary ability. That's still the coolest one. I just see Haskell. Anyone's learning Haskell, I'm so sorry. Alright. And that's why we need better companion revival. No more wolf boys, yeah. Have y'all thought about doing / adding more difficult version of the Mono's boss fight that unlocked via corruption? Probably not worth the resources now, but it'd be fun to have new twists on the fight that make it more exciting. Yeah, I think I think that'll be that's a natural evolution of the system where corruption has breakpoints, or it already has breakpoints in reward, but breakpoints in functionality as well coincide with the reward probably. So like, I know a lot of people have figured out that if you get like minimum this corruption, it starts to drop this unique or whatever. And having some sort of indication that that's happening via a new ability that the boss gets, I think could be a really powerful way to show that. When can we get a Frostfire conversion for Fireball? It's already got the Fire Lightning. Can we get the Frost one as well? Probably won't be for a while if it happens. I'd say it's a good chance it would end up being on a unique as well, but it's pretty speculative. Yeah. Forgot that I wanted that. Here. Yeah, more of those. I mean, that's pretty great. Have the, like, do the shout pull combo. We got up to there, which we need more of still. Auto? There's no auto casting in there directly. Ah, yes, that's it. Chance on kill. This needs to be a keyword search, not a string search. Yeah, that's what I thought. Can we get Frostfire Commission? No. 8-3 Void Knight. 8-4 Druid. 8-5 question mark. Yep, that is a question mark. Here, look at this instead. Oh my goodness, what's that? Do you feel health regen is on par with Leech at the moment? No, I think so. Leech scales with damage, health regen doesn't. So there's this sort of interesting thing that happens with like you can't scale health regen based on something else. So I think health regen is fantastic for like earlier on in the game. It's much better than it is later because yeah, they don't have the scaling. Yeah. No, Leech is definitely stronger, I think. Are any bosses on the rework list? I really like some of them, but other ones feel like they're not up to the same standards, say Yulia or the Shade. Really, the Shade? Wow. That is surprising. Wow. That caught me off guard. Not specifically. There's I know the person who does a lot of the boss design has a few that they'd really like to rework, and just beef up a little bit. There's always little things that are changing, but I don't think that there's many large scale changes slated for it at the moment. Alright, how do you feel about the disparity between time of completion of Monolith Fate echoes? Some echoes have one patrolling mob spire, one screen away from spawn point, others have 3 patrolling spires across the whole map. I'm really happy about that, and I know that's not something that many people will be happy I said. I think that if they're all exactly the same, it's not an overly... Well, one of the things that makes them different is the different objectives, right? And having those objectives all be exactly the same time frame, I'm not a huge fan of. I think it's better. It might be a problem where most of them, say there's 10 objectives and 9 of them took 1 minute and 1 of them took 3 minutes. It would feel really bad to get that one really long one. If there's 10 objectives and 9 of them take 3 minutes and 1 of them takes 1 minute, it feels really good to get that one that takes 1 minute. And so I think there might be some balancing that can be done in the distribution of timings and the discrepancy in how big there are some changes in how big that discrepancy is that could be positive. But for the most part, I'm really happy that there are differences, and I don't think they're really super far out of the ordinary. The one that's the longest typically is the arena, and you can tell which one that is before it starts. So you don't have to go into those ones. So Nightbringer is getting a companion, eh? Maybe. Is there potential to add an option to respec all for passives? How about 2 max cap for Storm Totem? The passives, we're still working on what we want to do there. Storm Totem needs a lot of changes, I think. But we were talking about some echoes taking 10 seconds, other take 7 minutes. Yeah, like I said, there's some big discrepancies in some of them. The ones that take 10 seconds, I think, is the problem, not the ones that take 7 minutes. Can we at least balance the reward versus time right now? The 3 Spire maps feel 3 times as slow as the 1 Spire maps. Yeah, so part of that is there's yes, not in the way you think we're gonna do it. We've got a plan. It's a weird one. I think it'll work.
Can I help you?
I don't even know what I'm selling here. I feel like these were good potential. Oh yeah, there we go. Sweet. I'll take that for sure.
Stay safe, traveler.
Do I want any of these? Oh, well, it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I think we're gonna redo this whole build and come back and make it a flip build for 2 of them. But for now, we're just gonna go with 1, just to make it easy. I kind of feel like we're at a natural stopping point in the campaign, and we're so close to the end of the stream that I kind of don't want to keep going. Here, let's do this. And let's just see what we can put on these things. Like, this is flat. Alright, sweet, that works. I actually don't want that. Super don't want that. Much better. Frailty's nice. Alright. It's okay, it's a contender. It's a contender. I think we want bleed here, but let's actually chaos this first. Dang it. Oh, I just don't have the level, right, obviously. Yeah, there's some good stuff there. Like, that one's got the most damage. I don't know. I think this one's garbage. It's so good. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's flip back. Oh, I got one little more teaser for you. cool little piece of art here as well. So as we finish out, Mike, any other picks to throw up? Yeah, there we go. There's one last one. All right. How do you know what I think? As if I can't have my own weird ideas. Sorry, didn't mean to put thoughts in your brain. Oh, it's not what you think. I see what you're saying. It's probably not what you're thinking. Will the game get more cinematic events, aka zoomed out more, see more of the environment? Yeah, there's a lot of the cinematic events we have were created in the levels we already had that were created for this specific maximum zoom. There's a lot of stuff going on, like just outside the visible spectrum that makes it not great. So we're working on new tools for cinematics that'll be great. Yes, that's part of the like a whole story building stuff that we're working on. Are you guys going to address the fact that one-handers are on par with two-handers in terms of damage? Frozen Iron best in slot for every Frostbite build versus Mortitas, which cannot compete. I mean, like, we'd love to have them all be viable. It's hard sometimes because I think there's this is kind of a big question for right at the end of the stream here, and I think it's tough because can't compete is kind of a tough thing, a tough way to look at it, because it's you're I could be wrong about this, but likely you're looking at it in a fairly optimized extreme end of the build spectrum. There's going to be some builds where there is an obvious best option for even medium builds, which is not ideal. And we try and avoid that wherever we can, where there's as much choice and decision making as possible. So yeah, if there's outliers, we want to address those for sure. I think you know where I'm going to tell you to go put detailed feedback like that, though, so I won't say it. Any plans for an API system that would allow Twitch add-ons so people can see a streamer's gear like they have in PoE? Yep. No idea when it'll happen. Any word on the caps coming back as merch? Extremely likely. Timeline, no idea. What is using resources on logging welcome screen? A lot of stuff that shouldn't be running. What is the mage? Is that what the mage should look like? No, there's clues as to what it is in the image itself, actually. Right up here, I think. Up there? Maybe it's down here? You can actually see what the text says. It's really, the image is just tiny on my screen. Why are lightning elementals allowed to hit you from off screen? It feels weird not know where damage is coming from. Yeah, so usually when things have range that will go off screen, we try and make it not insanely high damage, or at least be very well telegraphed. Yeah. Elder Gaspar is the name of the image chat, yeah. Alright. Well, we got through all the questions. This means nothing to me because I can't read. I doubt that very much. Arborist, I've seen you post many times. And either you are the luckiest person with a keyboard ever, or you can read. But wouldn't that be impressive? Able to hold full conversations online but can't read? Oh. Alright. Thank you very much, everybody. You've been a fantastic group to have with me for this. I hope you all had fun. I know I did.